Here is exactly how to win in your first year of lifting. Your first time at the gym is scary. There's these weird metal tubes that people sit inside. The girls there are dressed in not much, leaving not much to the imagination. Really loud music is playing. Some random guys grunting. You have no clue what you're doing. You just want to get jacked. And with time, this place, the gym, will become your second home, especially if you follow the tips in this video. The first and the most important point is consistency. If you take nothing else away from this video, it is to be consistent. If you consistently go to the gym for a full year and you do some sort of movements when you're there, you do some push-ups, you do some squats, do some bicep curls, but you keep going and you are consistent for your whole first year, that is the most important thing. Because if you know the perfect technique and the perfect movements and it's all optimal, but you're not consistent, then you're not going to make any progress. But if you just show up week in, week out, day in, day out, and you do something, you do some push-ups, you do some bicep curls, whatever, you will begin to become more comfortable at the gym and it will be less overwhelming. And then you go, okay, well, I do bicep curls, I do some push-ups, what else can I do? And slowly over time, you become better. Because the first step is to be consistent. You become consistent, then you become comfortable. Once you're comfortable there, then you can add more weight. You can try new movements. But the first challenge for 99% of people is to simply show up and be consistent at the gym. That is it. The second most important point is compound movements. So now that you're consistent and you're showing up to the gym 3 days a week, 2 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever it is, but you're going there on a regular basis, you want to make sure that you're doing the correct movements or solid movements. There are no incorrect movements, but decent options. And the best bang for buck, or the exercises that will give you the most muscle growth and strength advantages, are compound movements. Compound movements move multiple joints of your body at the same time. So what are some examples of this? You have things like pull-ups for your back and rows. So anything that looks like a pull-up or anything that looks like a row is going to be a compound movement for your back. You have things like squats and deadlifts for your lower body, for your legs. And then you have things like push-ups and overhead presses. If you take those 6 movements and pick 4 of them to do each workout, you will grow. No ifs or buts, you will grow. A mistake that I often see people doing is they'll just come into the gym and they'll do isolation movements, only move one joint in your body. This is like a bicep curl or your leg extensions or a hamstring curl. There's nothing wrong with these, it's just they're less efficient and they only work one muscle. Meanwhile, if you do a compound movement, you'll train multiple muscles in the same amount of time with the same amount of effort, and they'll also train it better. You'll get better results doing compound movements than you will isolation movements. So, well, now that you're consistent, you want to choose exercises that are compound movements, which brings us on to point number 3, form. There is a reason why everyone that gives advice about the gym mentions form. I'll put it third on the list below consistency and below compound movements because as a beginner, your risk is lower, but it's also higher. It's lower because you're not really strong enough to injure yourself, but it's higher because you have no clue what you're doing. So you're probably more likely to do something really stupid and then injure yourself. So the safest way to go about lifting in the gym is to make sure your form is good. Now, what does that mean? It's a very vague term. Having good form, in my opinion, is to control the weight. Don't let it crush you, just control it down and control it on the way up. Control it down, control it on the way up. And make sure you're doing the full movement. If you could go lower without any pain, then let the weight come lower. If you can bring it up higher without any pain, bring it up higher. And make sure that all your reps take you through this full range of motion. Okay, so the 4th most important thing, I just want to reiterate, consistency is by far the most important thing for you in your first year of the gym. Just be consistent. But let's say you've got consistency down packed. You have your compound movements. You've got your squats, your pull-ups, your rows, and your push-ups. You're doing them for 99% of the time in the gym, you're doing those compound movements. Great work. Keep it up. Your form is good. You're coming all the way down and all the way up. All the way down and all the way up. Now is intensity. Now that you have those 3, you have the consistency, you have the compound movements and the form, now you can begin to add intensity. So this is basically just lifting or training very close to where you can't do another rep. So you want to control the weight up and control the weight down, but on the last rep or two, it's going to be pretty difficult. You're gonna have to really push. The reason you need to push hard when you're training, particularly after a few months or so, is because when you push hard, your body is basically being told that it needs to adapt. It needs to change. The muscles need to get bigger. You need to get stronger. If you're training lightly, or if you're training with not much intensity, so you're like, that was a good set. I could have done maybe 5 more, or I could have done 10 more push-ups, but that's enough for today. Your body isn't really being told that it needs to change. Meanwhile, if on your last push-up, like, fuck, and you bang it out, and you're like, maybe if there was a gun to my head, I could have got 1 more, then that is some really good training. And because you've been practicing with good form, your likelihood of injury is very low. Which brings us on to point number 4, recovery. This is probably the opposite of what you think I'm going to say. Most of recovery is not doing things like ice baths, sauna, massages, dry needling, IV drips, sound healing, fucking meditation. Most of recovery is not that. So now that you've told your body that you need to grow, you've been going to the gym consistently, you're doing compound movements, doing your squats, your pull-ups, your push-ups, you're doing them with good form, and then after a few months, you've started to increase the intensity. They're difficult training sessions. Now your body needs to recover from these difficult training sessions to allow the change to happen. So you've told it it needs to grow, and now when you recover, your muscles can actually grow larger. Then the next time you hit the gym, you will be stronger. So what is 99.9% of recovery? It's 2 things. 1, it's sleeping good. So this is pretty simple. I've made another video on it on the channel, which I'll link in the description, but you guys already know how to sleep well, I'm assuming. If you don't, make your room dark, be like relaxed before going to sleep. But you want to sleep well, and you also want to eat good foods so that your body has the right fuel and it has the right sort of building blocks to build your muscle. So protein, carbohydrates, and fats. The fats for your hormones, the carbohydrates for your energy and to bring the protein into the muscle, and then the protein for your muscles, right? So basically, less junk food, more food that your grandma cooked 100 years ago. And that will take you very far. Like an ice bath, or ice baths don't even work for muscle building, for building muscle anyway. Massages or compression therapy or whatever you think recovery is, I'm telling you right now, it's not. It's not that sort of Instagram recovery, I suppose. It's not what influencers are like, I did my workout and now I'm doing a sauna, or now I'm doing compression therapy. 99% of it is sleeping good and eating real food. That is it. That's all there is to it. It's just sleeping good and eating good. Getting enough sleep, enough quality sleep, eating enough food, and making sure most of it is high quality food. And that will allow your body to recover, to be stronger for your next session, or be fully recovered for your next session, so then you can train hard again. Which brings me to tip number 5, supplements, or at least the legal ones. The legal ones are not what you think they are. They don't magically cause you to lose 10 kilos in 2 weeks. They don't add a plate to your bench press. They are just that, they are supplements. So if you have a little hole in your diet, you can put a little band-aid on it. Ideally, you don't have that little hole in your diet or your lifestyle. And even if you do, by supplementing, the change is not going to be very big at all. The only supplement that I advise new lifters to seriously consider is creatine monohydrate. Everything else, you don't even need protein powder, if I'm being completely honest. If you have enough protein from meats and dairy, you're fine. And eggs, you don't need protein powder. Pre-workout, absolutely do not need that. Sure, it feels cool. Sure, it has caffeine, which improves your performance, but you can go get a coffee, or definitely not needed. Pre-workout has only been around for about 10, 20 years, and everyone before then was able to build great physiques without pre-workout. Because they were consistent, they had good form, they trained with intensity, they mainly did compound movements, and they had good sleep and good nutrition. That is basically all you need. Supplements, fat burners don't really work. They There's no study that I'm aware of that has shown any fat burner on the market to actually work. Same goes for building muscle. There's no legal supplements that really help you build muscle in like a noticeable way, except for maybe creatine. And even then, creatine has a very small impact. So those were the 5 points: consistency, form, intensity, good recovery, which consisted of sleep and nutrition, and then supplements. If you want to learn more about creatine monohydrate, click the video here and it will tell you more about creatine monohydrate. I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, if you have any questions, write them in the description and I'll do my best to answer them. I've been training for 5 years and I am nearly finished a degree in sports science and nutrition science. This is all I kind of do in my spare time, is learn about the gym and nutrition. So if you have any questions, please pop them in the comments and I'll answer them.